Right now, there is actually a fire close to where I live, and I'm probably going to be evacuated very soon. Alright, so this fire really is not a joke. It's quite serious, and the section that is just north of where I live got an evacuation order, and where I am right now, the air is really bad in the air. I don't see any visible fire yet, nor do I see any smoke yet, but I have packed pretty much everything emergency supply related into my car. That includes some non-perishable food, just granola bars and things like that, some water and extra masks, some medicine, first aid kit. I packed up my Tesla mobile charger just in case I am not going to come back here anytime soon. I even packed in my test mat, which is a Tesla Model 3 mattress. So worst comes to worst, I will sleep in my car. I've got pillows and blankets as well, just in case the worst happens. I'm going to go outside and drive away from here for now and just kind of wait it out to see what might happen next. Wow! What a day I have had. This has got to be one of the moments where life has been the most real to me, and I guess I realized life becomes a lot more real when you're in the face of danger. So to recap, this morning I woke up to very gusty winds in my bedroom. It was blowing really hard, and to the point that my tree in front of the house was wavering, shaking left and right, and I had my car parked right next to it, and I was legitimately concerned that the tree would actually fall down on the car. So I woke up and moved the car right away and thought to myself, okay, it's time to find a gardener or some kind of landscaper to either chop down this tree or at least trim it or cut part of it so it's at least not as tall and in danger of the wind blowing it down. And I thought that was my greatest crisis for the day, but it turns out that things only got worse from there on out, because by 7 a.m. in the morning, when I wanted to go outside for a run, I started to smell smoke in the air, and I thought I was just hallucinating. Maybe I just had a weird night last night in my dreams or whatever, and what could possibly have happened? So I recognized the smell as burning ash from most likely a fire, and I've been in a fire before 2 years ago. I actually got evacuated. That's a whole story on its own. And so I went with my instincts and looked up online on whether or not there are any fire around the areas where I live. And surely enough, there was. It started, in fact, just probably 30 minutes ago, and I was thinking, wait, that means the fire must be really close. That sounds really bad. So I started to shift my brain into emergency mode. I was in a frenzy, and I just could not believe that this was actually happening. There was no evacuation notice yet, but within an hour, there was an evacuation notice to the neighborhood that's about 3 miles from where I live. And wow, that's really close. So I kind of started packing a little bit, just in case, if it's really that bad. Of course, I was still waiting for some more news to come in, but I started packing anyway. I started to pack my clothes, my towel, my toiletries and things like that, just in case I had to go away. Worst comes to worst, I can probably drive an hour or two and just get a hotel and just wait it out. That's the worst, absolute worst thing that can happen. Yeah, so that's my baseline worst possible case, which I don't want to get to if I don't have to. As the time kind of went by throughout the day, I just kind of stood in standby mode, waiting for more news to come in on whether or not I should make that move to leave or not. And they issued another evac notice, this time about 1 mile away from where I live, and that was kind of it for me. I thought, okay, even though the evac notice is not where I am and I'm not within that range, I should leave right now. Because 2 years ago, when I also experienced a fire, we got strong recommendations to leave, and I just was paranoid and panicked and just bolted and left. And traffic was already pretty heavy to leave. And 2 hours later, they actually issued a mandatory evacuation. And at that point, I had some of my friends tell me that they tried to leave, but the traffic was just stuffed. So I was thinking the same thing is probably gonna happen this time. So I just straight up took my possessions, packed them into a car, took my emergency supplies. I had my living essentials like my clothes and my toiletries, my towel, my electronics that I needed to get by with, including this camera that I'm filming it with, aka my phone. And I also had non-perishable food and some toilet paper, some paper towels, blankets, pillows. I even got a car mattress, a test mat, because I own a Tesla Model 3, and I actually wanted to get this test mat to go on a car camping trip beforehand, and I got this just very recently, and I hadn't even opened it, and it looks like the fire kind of beat me to the punch. It says, all right, go car camping right now. That's my absolute worst case. If there's no hotel spaces available, I will just car camp. I'll just sleep in my car. But thankfully, that's not how today turned out. So after I had packed everything, and after I strongly encouraged my roommates to also leave and make sure that they had a path to get out of here, I left. I started driving, and I stopped by the ATM to pick up some cash just in case, because I didn't really have that much cash on me at the time. And if things really do get bad to the point where electronic payments don't work anymore, credit cards don't work anymore, Apple Pay doesn't work anymore, then I definitely want to have some cash on hand just in case. So yeah, I went through some pretty extreme measures of preparation just to prepare for the worst. Hopefully it doesn't come, but expect it in case it does. Hopefully I'm okay. And on the drive to my evacuation destination, I started just calling people and making sure that they're okay, just calling them, telling them, hey, I've been in a fire before. If you're not in the evac zone and you're close to it, you should probably leave now, because there's going to be some pretty heavy traffic. It's going to be hard for you to leave. So yeah, I've not called that many people in a very long time. I also received calls from friends and family as well, and gave them the story that I am doing okay, thankfully, and I'm already evacuating. Oh, I've had a really long day. I'm just really tired right now, and I am so grateful to have a place that's a little farther away that I can go to. Wow, life is real, and you really don't feel how real it is until you're in the face of danger. And I felt this before, but I don't think this feeling gets old, or at least it's my second fire that I've experienced that I had to evacuate from. And yeah, it does not feel any less stressful than the last time. It's basically the same. I mean, I hope this doesn't happen again, but if something similar, some kind of crisis arises for the third time, I wonder if it's going to be similar. So I don't know. We'll see. Regardless though, I think it's very useful to have a worst case baseline of what's the worst possible thing that will happen based off of everything that you prepare. So in my case, my worst case scenario was drive far away and sleep in the car. And that's the worst thing that I can do. Better than staying in my car would be staying in a hotel or a motel where I can pay for a place to stay temporarily. And even better than that yet would be to stay at a friend's place or a relative's place where they can offer you that kind of shelter. Of course, the best possible option is to stay where you are and not leave and not move at all. But I was already beyond that. Even though at the time I was not in the evacuation zone, I was already pretty close, so I chose to go down to a slightly worse condition to maintain a level of safety in case things actually do get worse. You really never hope things get bad, but in case they do, you will be glad that you've done so. It's kind of like a risk assessment. How risk tolerant are you? And today I found myself more on the risk intolerant side, just because I've experienced the fire before, so I have those negative aftershocks. So yeah, that's basically my day. And I'm really grateful for the firefighters who are on the front lines fighting for this case. Firefighters honestly do not get enough credit for all the things that they have to go through. Wildfires are extremely difficult to tame, and especially given today when it was really windy and the air support was grounded. They couldn't go up and spread the anti-fire extinguisher. The fire is kind of getting a free ride right now in terms of how much is allowed to burn, and you only have the ground forces in the way to kind of stop that. So firefighting, not easy. It's a very difficult job. It's a very noble job. You're the first responders and you're throwing yourself into the line of fire, quite literally. Mad respect for firefighters. Once they tame this fire, honestly, they should all go and take a vacation and just de-stress. I don't know. I am very grateful for that. and the fact that we have these first responders in society, it's so easy to take them for granted. But back in the day, before society became as organized and as structured, when we didn't have these kinds of people, and if such a thing were to happen, then that would be truly mad chaos. All right, well, that's all I have today. I really hope wherever you are, you guys remain safe. Please make sure to check in on your loved ones and families if you are affected by this, and just let them know that you care for them and that you want what's best for them and that you're always there to help them out if they need you, and just offer any help that you can and support. And I think it'll go a long way. Just remember that you yourself have probably received this kind of help before. So if you are in the capacity to do that, please do offer that back to others so that way they can share and spread this contagious generosity. And yeah, that's all I had. Thank you so much. Have a great night. I am really tired, so I am gonna retire for the night.